meant, is very uncertain. Modern scholars identify Ramesses with the city called Per-Ramses, House of Ramses in Egyptian records, placed by some at San el-Hagar in the Eni corner of the delta, and by others at Cantia, about 20 kilometers 12 mi to the south. But this identification rests on the theory that Ramses II was the pharaoh of the Exodus. This theory, in turn, is based on inscriptions of Ramses II giving his claim to having built the city bearing his name Per-Ramses, using slave labor. There is little reason, however, to believe that Ramses II was the ruler at the time of the Exodus, since his rule is not likely to have been much earlier than the 13th century BCE or between 200 and 300 years after the Exodus 1513 BCE. The biblical Ramses began to be built before Moses' birth, hence over 80 years before the Exodus. X1. 11, 15, 16, 22. 2. 1-3 Furthermore, it is held that Per-Ramses was the capital city in the time of Ramses II, whereas the biblical Ramses was only a storage place. It is generally accepted that Ramses II was guilty of taking credit for certain achievements of his predecessors, and this raises the possibility that, at best, he only rebuilt or enlarged Per-Ramses. Finally, the name Ramesses was clearly in use as far back as the time of Joseph in the 18th century BCE. So there is no reason to assume that its application in the form Ramses as the name of a city was exclusive with the time of Ramses II. G47. 11 Its very meaning, too, makes it likely that it was popular among the Egyptians from early times. By the reign of Ramses II there were a number of towns that bore that name. D.B. Redford says, Biblical Ramses and the capital PRMS' Per-Ramses, apart from the personal name, seem to have nothing in common. In the complete lack of corroborative evidence it is absolutely essential to exercise caution in equating the two. Vetus Testamentum, Leiden, 1963, p. 410. Because of the lack of reliable information, it can only be said that Ramesses was likely not far from the Egyptian capital of the time of the Exodus. This would allow for Moses to have been at Pharaoh's palace on no textoi acute muritra longo. Rabbi 724 was on a tributary of the Upper Jabbok and was thus in position to benefit from the rich fertility of that region. Also, it was an important link in the trade route between Damascus and Arabia. Rabbah of the sons of Ammon Rab Bath-Bnem-Mon is first mentioned in the Bible as being the location of the iron bier of Og, king of Bashan. 3. 11 When the Israelites came to the Promised Land, the tribe of Gad received Amorite land formerly, it seems, held by Ammon as far as Aroah, which is in front of perhaps to the Eni of Rabbah. Jos 13. 25.